The title of the film, Cold Caller, is appropriate for the genre of horror and my opening sequence. This is because the font, which would usually be a fairly regular Arial black type font, has been distorted and broken down. This reflects the lives of the characters in the movie, whose lives have been broken down and affected by the killer. The distortion also looks quite digital, which reflects the cold caller telephone theme of the title. Similar uses of this font can be seen in Evil Dead, where the title has been damaged by the overgrowth of the forest, reflecting the theme of the movie's story being based in a forest. The actual titles of my sequence are fairly erratic in terms of positioning and movement. A lot of the titles follows the movement of the environment, characters, or camera movement. They are placed in different positions around the screen, which increases the sense of hysteria and erraticism, which mirrors the feel of the later moments when the killer enters the house. The font follows the theme of digital breakdown, with the font being similar to that of computer code. The technological theme may raise enigma codes that will be answered later on in the movie. The movement of the text can be seen in movies such as Zombieland, where the text moves with the environment and the characters. This shows a sense of involvement and action with the audience. The setting of my film is based in a fairly suburban area. This is because my audience will be most likely living in one themselves, and they will probably feel safe within their environment. This is an effective way of creating more fear within the viewer, and is a classic horror movie convention. This can be seen in films such as Sinister, where the family have moved to a fairly regular neighbourhood with a reasonably nice house, which is what I wanted to create with my opening sequence. The characters also feel safe at the location, as they are comfortable chilling with each other and answering the door without checking who it is first. The killer wore clothes usually associated with hoodlums, with him wearing a hoodie and trainers. However, he wore a gas mask as well, which usually has connotations of fear due to the man's face being hidden. Similar use of this can be seen in the movie My Bloody Valentine, where the antagonist also wears a gas mask. My antagonist wields a weapon that would stand out. In a lot of horrors, each of the killers have a signature weapon. In Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees had a machete, and in The Candyman, the antagonist had a hook. In my opening sequence, the killer has a baseball bat. I decided to use the handheld style of filming throughout most of my opening sequence. This style of filming is a massive convention of horror movies and has been used in movies such as VHS and The Blair Witch Project. I wanted this to be the main part of my action sequence as well, because the movement will add to the hysteria that the killer has brought. I also used a lot of match and action shots during the sequence, such as the killer's entrance into the house and most of the action shots throughout. This can be seen in some of the Friday 13th action sequences as well. My opening sequence raises a lot of enigma codes, such as who is the killer, which cannot be seen as he is wearing a mask, why is he killing these people, no motive has been suggested in the opening sequence. All the audience will know is that this is not just a one-off home invasion because of the news story at the beginning of the sequence describing a similar murder which would be linked to the one shown in the sequence. A similar sequence can be seen at the beginning of The Conjuring, where two girls are haunted by a doll that later becomes a main part of the story. The genre of horror should hopefully become evident within the first moments of the opening sequence, the music being eerie and unsettling, which is a common convention of horror, and the moments where you see the camera looking in through the window as a way to create the idea that someone else is watching, the introduction of the killer through the news story, all suggesting that something bad is going to happen. The blood used and the violence used should suggest that this is a horror movie, and the use of enigma codes creating mystery. All of these conventions can be seen throughout most horror movies. The sounds used in my opening sequence are primarily diegetic sounds, like the crunches of when the killer hits someone with the baseball bat, or the reactions of the characters on screen, and the news report. I do, however, have a moody and unsettling soundtrack in the background to create the eerie environment. The use of these sounds can be seen a lot, especially in horrors, such as The Candyman, where the sound effects are vital to create a more gory environment when the character is stabbed or murdered.